which I will give a trigger warning. This does deal with mental health and suicide, but it does involve a an author that was previously published in Shojo Beat.
Yep.
For those of you who didn't hear about this, this happened on Monday, I believe. Yeah, I believe it was Monday of this past week. But the manga artist Ashihara Hinako was found dead in her apartment. And this was right after she had published a blog post criticizing her treatment against the TV network NTR that had chosen to adapt her manga Sexy Tanaka-San into
Mm-hmm.
a live action drama. So she had published that blog post on January 26th, and on January 29th, she was found dead in her apartment, unfortunately. When I saw this story, honestly, I feel like a lot of JoJo fans and just just manga fans in general, like our hearts really broke because
Mm-hmm.
it's the last thing that you really want to like hear. All of this, like reading more into it, it could have been easily avoided if the producers and the network actually stuck to what they had promised her, which was giving her the permit well, not the permission, but giving her access to actually monitor and well, not monitor, supervise the script.
Yeah.
And since they were adapting her latest series, which was ongoing, she really wanted to have that, not the power, but just the access to monitor the script and make sure that it was actually truthful to her work.
Yeah.
Because for those of you who are not familiar with this series, I can give you a quick synopsis because it is a very it is not a very conventional manga series. At least this is the first time that I've ever heard of this premise. So the series centers around two women. One who's actually a 40-year-old woman who has a double life as a belly dancer.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that she was really adamant about when working on this live action was being very respectful and like true to the whole belly dance culture, like the movements and everything. And I guess the producers were just they kind of thought like, oh, it's a type of dance, and that was it.
Yeah.
And she was very critical on how like she just felt like the way that they were originally wanting to present belly dancing was just very like cartoony and disrespectful.
Yeah. It's kind of what
So,
you would see like in Hollywood and like
mm-hmm,
misinterpret like what it is and
yeah,
like because I feel like
yeah,
belly dancing is very incredibly sexualized.
it is,
Um
yeah,
and I feel like I haven't seen the series, but I feel
mm-hmm,
like they definitely went in a direction like that, which she
yeah,
probably felt like was disrespectful.
mm-hmm, yeah, yeah, pretty much. So that is the main female lead. So it's a 40-year-old office worker that lives a double life as a belly dancer, and the series also focused on a 23-year-old co-worker that later finds out about the other co-worker's double life as a belly dancer,
Mm-hmm.
and she goes from feeling very insecure and just like yeah, just very like an insecure 23-year-old that doesn't really know about her sexuality and anything like that to kind of seeing like, oh, like look at her, like she's this like beautiful sensual woman that enjoys like expressing herself belly dancing. Like she just kind of gets like a new like outlook on life and
Yeah.
femininity. So it just follows like their relationship with going from like coworkers to friends and exploring like their femininity and stuff like that. So a lot of themes that could easily be misconstrued.
Yep.
And I guess that's what was happening with the producers. Since the series was ongoing and she just didn't want this live action adaptation to come across as cheesy. And I feel like that's a concern that a lot of like just manga fans in general have whenever they hear like, oh, this series is going to get a live action adaptation. I feel like the first thing is like people groan.
Yeah.
And like, why couldn't this be like an anime? Like, oh, this is going to be so bad. This
Well,
is going
that's
to
a
be so
huge
cheesy.
problem in with shojo
Mm-hmm.
because it's shojo that always gets the live
The
action
live action, yeah.
adaptations instead of
Mm-hmm.
anime.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like as Shojo fans, like, I haven't seen every single live action adaptation, but I've seen some good ones.
I've seen
For
some bad ones.
example, the Kimi to Look at the Netflix one. I know a lot of people were very critical of it, but having read the full manga series and then watched the new adaptation, I'm not going to compare it to the original one because I feel like you can have multiple adaptations of like a piece of media
Mm-hmm.
and they can live separately. Like you can appreciate the old movie with Gento Miura and then appreciate the Netflix live action
Yes.
adaptation. At least that's my opinion. But like you can have good ones. And
Well,
then you can have like absolute like garbage
there's
fires of like live action adaptations that just like you're just kind of like watching it like I mean, you might not even get through the full series, let's be honest. If it's bad, it's bad.
like you never usually do, but I think a big thing, the reason why shojo fans groan at live action a lot
Mm-hmm.
is because people like there's people who get excited when their favorite anime becomes like live action, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone loves the One Piece live action.
Yeah.
But I think the difference though is that a lot of shojo is just kind of real life, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just real life. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not as like interesting to see as like an anime, right? Whereas like
Mm-hmm.
things like One Piece, Sonic, Pokemon are all like fantasy like fiction, like fictional worlds a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times as well with it too. Right? So it's more interesting to be able to see it in live action. Whereas like shojo
Yeah.
fans, we never get anime, we always just get the live action and it's like, yeah, that's cool, I guess. Like watching Kimi to
Mm-hmm.
Todoke live action is cool, but
Yeah.
like they're just teenagers going to high school. Like, whereas like anime I really feel like gets a lot of like there's a lot of things that live action just will never like pick up the same way as like animation will, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And
Yeah, yeah,
wanting
yeah.
to see the pictures on the page come to life in animation is so different than the pictures on the page come to life with actors. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times they don't even like they're it's not really a one-to-one translation anyways.
Yeah. And talking about the like the way that the script writers and the producers really took her work and just like the way it was described was that they were so heavily modified from the manga and simplified
Mhm.
to the point that like first of all they never gave her access to talk to the script writers at all,
That's horrible.
like zero access to the producers. So they would just like send her the script. I think it was like episodes 1 through 4 that were sent to her, and she was just like just horrified by the way they just like took her work and like completely like not I wouldn't say butcher it, but just like if you're taking a plot that is so I feel like even having not read the series, like it sounds like it would be a very complex like depiction on like female relationships,
Yeah.
especially female relationships. Like, dude, the fact that you barely see any characters over the age of like 20 in manga and you have a 40-year-old woman as the female lead, like, come on.
Yeah, we
Like,
never get anyone over
mm-mm.
like usually 30.
Yeah. So they had sent her the script. She was horrified. And I mean, her job is like being the mangaka and like drawing and stuff. She
Yes.
had no experience script writing. So
No.
like they would give her that and then instead of like having it be like a collaborative thing where she can like express her like concerns or what she didn't like, stuff like that. Like things that I feel like would be I don't know if they're like the norm in Hollywood, but I feel like this type of situation is just unheard of. Like, especially if one of her like clauses for adapting the series was like, hey, I want to be able to have oversee like the script, and they couldn't even do that, which was like the bare minimum that they had agreed. Is
Yeah.
just like absolutely insane.
Well, here's the thing too is that I feel like female mangakas are constantly disrespected when it
No,
comes to their
yeah.
work in
Mm-hmm.
whether it's anime or live action, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, when you look at, like, OG Sailor Moon, right? Naoko
That's what I was
Takeuchi
thinking too. Yeah.
hated OG Sailor Moon
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
it took her work and they completely changed it,
Yep.
right? They
And that was
completely
pretty much
changed things.
exactly what happened here. So they changed it, gave her no access for direct communication at all.
Yep.
She repeatedly asked them to not change the character so drastically and rob the story of its individuality.
Yeah.
And although she would revise and she really fought very hard for like the live action to be a good interpretation of her work,
Well, I don't, has any of her work been adapted before? Because I
not
know she did
entirely
Sand
sure.
Chronicles, but
Yeah, Sand Chronicles was published in Shojo B. I don't think, or it might have gotten a live action, but like really a really long time ago.
because like
Nothing has been animated.
nothing has been animated. Yeah, and
Mm-mm.
I'm like, it's just so bad because also the same thing happened to Fruits Basket, the OG.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That one also as well because they took it from being a drama, which is what Fruits
Made it,
Basket
yeah.
is, a drama, and they
Mm-hmm.
made it into a
Comedy.
comedy, romantic
Yeah.
comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like these female mangakas constantly being disrespected makes me
Mm-hmm.
fucking furious.
Yeah. That's that's honestly how I felt. And there's a very long Twitter thread that I can link in the information bar in YouTube. Like the more you read into it, the more infuriating it got because all of this could have been prevented if they would have given her the access for direct communication with the TV stuff. That's it.
But of course, it's just people thinking they know better.
Yeah, it was essentially the producers thinking like, oh, this is how we're gonna sell her series better than what she wrote.
Here's the
She's
thing
not a
is that if you don't
she's
think it's going to sell well without you changing it, then just don't
don't
fucking
adapt it.
adapt it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
Dude, we lost a 50-year-old like shojo manga veteran
yeah,
because of not I wouldn't even say it was miscommunication, it's just disrespect,
misogyny.
belittling her, yeah, and misogyny. Yeah, there's like honestly no nothing good that came out of this story, but I
Mm-hmm.
just hope that like Japanese like production agencies and these like corporations take better steps at like actually working with these like mangakas. Like I don't want to see this ever again, and it shouldn't be happening, especially if they're the ones that want to adapt something because they can't come up with anything freaking original.
Yep.
The least they can do is actually work with a creator
Yes.
and make sure that they depict their work in a very respectful way that audiences, both people that have read their series and just, new fans can actually enjoy. Yeah, this story just, like I was talking to my friends as well. We were all so furious. Like, there was no way. I mean, the series is now incomplete because it was still ongoing, and unfortunately, we will never see an end to that. But like,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it really hurt.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Mm-mm.
it's never fun, you know, to read
Mm-mm.
about someone who was a big influence on shojo
Yeah.
to not even just pass away, but to commit suicide.
Yeah.
You know, like that hurts even more.
I know I had mentioned this. Like, she had posted her blog post about like her treatment that she was facing and just like everything. And then a few days later, she retracted that because she felt like her blog post was maybe going a little too harsh on the producers and like the staff.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, after that, of course, like they found her body, but like, I mean, I feel like the fact that she posted that publicly,
It was a cry for help, is what it
it
was.
was, yeah. I hope it does lead to some change
Yeah.
because maybe there has been other mangaka that have faced something similar. I mean, we just mentioned Naoko Takeuchi and how they like freaking took her work and then made it something completely different. I mean, the Sailor Moon 90s adaptation is not her work, let's be real.
No, it is not. It's
But
not her work. Like maybe like season 1 to an extent,
yeah, to an
right?
extent.
But then like
Yeah.
when I like, season 5 where they made the Starlights into men that transform into women, it completely breaks her lore.
Yeah.
Like it just breaks it, because the reason that it breaks her lore is that only people born female can be senshi, right? And that like it doesn't always mean, though, like especially back then. I know like things are different than in the 90s. Being born female, it doesn't mean that a man can't be a senshi. It's just that you have to be born female, if that makes sense, right? Because like I mean, like literally, Uranus exists, and now we have a term for Uranus being non-binary, essentially, or gender fluid, right? I think as a community, we all kind of go, yeah, that's what Naoko kind of intended, but there was no word for it in 1992.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah.
So
times change.
The times change, but that's what essentially she did right. But they changed. That was a huge change in the 5th season of Sailor Moon and Sailor Moon Stars. It's just constant, like the disrespect that I've seen, from the like production teams towards female mangakas.
Yeah, because I know like One Piece live action, I think Netflix did involve the creator a lot and got his blessings for a lot of the things.
Yeah.
Even like down to like the casting, like
yes.
And I think that's the way you should go about it if you're adapting someone's work. It would be a different thing if you're adapting like, a work of somebody that already passed away. Like of course, like reach out to the family or whoever else just to make sure you adapt it properly. But if you're adapting someone's work and they're living, the least you can do is have them be more involved.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So my condolences to like the family of Ashihara Hinako, because this honestly was just very tragic.
Heartbreaking.
It was a story that nobody, it was a very shocking story. There's really no way to end it other than I hope this does lead to some hopefully
change.
Positive change. Yeah, much needed change.
Absolutely.